Hey guys, it's Lauren J. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I like to do get ready with me style videos using products that are new to me, or just need a little bit more love in my collection. Today we are using products that need a little bit more love in my collection, and we are going to use mostly Drugstore. So I don't know what's going on here. I just needed my hair not the way it was. Not feeling great this week, just feeling real tired, run down, and just thought I would play with some Drugstore stuff that I've been neglecting for quite a while. So if you're into that and you want to see what I come up with, keep watching. So this video was inspired by the announcement that the newest e.l.f. collection is coming out. They usually do some kind of special collection in January, beginning of the year. So they're doing a Feelin' Groovy, something like that. I'll try and pop a picture up here. Good Vibes, something like that. It's a 70s themed collection, and I kind of want to pick up one of the eyeshadow quads because I love the bite-size eyeshadows. I have a bunch of them, and I'm going to use some of those today. So I don't know that I'm going to run out and purchase it. It's coming out on the 17th, which I believe is going to be the day that this is uploaded. I am a member of like the e.l.f. squad or whatever it is, so you just get an email that says, hey, it's available before anybody else, but whatever. But the last few like limited edition collections haven't really sold out, or if they have, they've come back in stock, and you can still get these things, most of them, on the e.l.f. website. So I'm going to be using a few limited edition items. Just know that a lot of these are things that I don't use a whole ton, and there's a reason for that. I mostly bought them for the packaging. I bought them because they just hit something inside me and I just like to look at them. So if you're like, well, you're using products that I can't get, there's probably some analog that you can get in either e.l.f. or Wet n Wild or whatever. And the point is just to use my makeup because I have it, and maybe you have it in your collection too, or something like it. So let's just get into the look. So I'm gonna start. I've already done my brows because I don't have a Drugstore brow product. I'm actually running low on brow products, but I have the Anastasia Dipbrow gel in caramel on my eyes. But I'm gonna start off with primer. And this is the collection that came out last January, I think it was last January, but this is the e.l.f. Runs on Dunkin' primer, and this is the Do Not Forget primer, and I've never actually used this. So it smells fine, but I've never used it, and I think it's more of like a glowy primer. So I'm going to use that because I have been liking more of a glowy primer, but it's kind of, I guess, supposed to give you that donut glaze. So yeah, and I've already done my skincare and my SPF. Feels nice. And I'm gonna need a mirror. Just grabbing my Lorac Pro palette for the mirror. Yeah, nice and glowy, feels fine. Not as mattifying as the, well, I don't, the normal putty primer I would love and I can use all day long. I also like the Cookies and Dream one that came out like a couple years ago. But yeah, I can see there's definitely some glow here that you probably wouldn't normally get with the normal one. But I don't know that it's like shiny. Just makes your skin feel smooth. Doesn't necessarily fill in. Oops. Yeah, first time using that. Again, still smells fine. I've never used it. Now I've used it. e.l.f. Runs on Dunkin'. And I don't know, I think you can still get some of these products. I know it sold out in its initial run, but I think they brought it back a few times. So either way, I know they also have the new vitamin C primer, which I think has kind of a glow. I've not tried that one, so I'm not sure how analogous it is. I'm going to use the About Face eye primer because I don't have a Drugstore eye primer proper. I used to use the Wet n Wild one religiously, I have not used that in a really long time just because I stopped buying Wet n Wild for a while. But this one you can get at Ulta. It's $13, so it's analogous to Drugstore, I would say, even though it's kind of, you know, it's a Halsey's brand. So, and they did lower their prices quite a bit last year. And this is just a really moisturizing eye primer, which I don't necessarily need right now, but I'm almost finished with it. So it was between this one and the Ulta matte eye primer, which is very matte and it really makes your shadows stay. I'm almost out of that one too, and that you can also get at Ulta for $12. And it's hard to say what drugstore prices are these days because they have gone up so much. So whereas like Physicians Formula is still considered drugstore, but it's kind of more on the higher end of drugstore. Whereas like e.l.f. and Wet n Wild are definitely drugstore, but e.l.f. did raise their prices last year. And Wet n Wild has gone more for like collaborations and special collections and things, which always pushes up the price point a little bit. So I'm going to use some of my bite-size eyeshadows. One of these is permanent, and a bunch of them are limited edition. I think you can still get this one, and you might be able to get this one. I don't know. This one sold out at one point, but came back a couple of times, like I've said. So this is the bite-size eyeshadow in Rosewater. I got this in their advent calendar a couple of years ago. This is the e.l.f. Mint Melt collection. This came out 2 or 3 years ago in one of their January collections when they started doing like January collections. And then this is the e.l.f. runs on Dunkin'. It's 3 sets of the bite-sized shadows, themed after their donuts. So you've got the chocolate frosted with sprinkles, the strawberry frosted with sprinkles, the pink one, and then the Boston cream, which is the yellow and brown one. This really reminded me a lot of what they're putting out for the groovy, cool, whatever they're calling the Good Vibes collection that they're coming out with, because I think that one has some like turquoise blues and some oranges, but it has the browns and the yellows in it. So it just kind of reminded me. I think that goes a little bit more retro. This one is much more like springtime neutral, but whatever. So we're gonna go in with some of these, and I realized I just used this one for the first time yesterday. I realized I'd never really played with it before, and I bought it last year. I kind of knew that when I bought it. All I really wanted was this one, but you could only get the full set. So that's kind of why I want to pick up one of the eyeshadow in the new collection, because you can actually get them separate. You don't have to buy the full thing, and one is more of like yellow and brown, and one has like a blue and an orange and all this stuff. So yeah, I want to pick up one of those. But anyway, these are typically $4. So these are, the normal ones are usually $3. I don't remember if they raised the price on this. This one is $4 because of the limited edition, whatever. And then I believe these were all, I can't remember what these were. I think they amounted to a little bit more than $4 each, because you had like the packaging and stuff, which, you know, if you go back and look at my video, I had some comments about like, I understand because it's a Dunkin' Donuts collection that you need all this packaging, but I honestly don't think for an e.l.f. regular e.l.f. release that you need all this extra packaging, and you can save some money on not doing all that extra packaging. Just make it should be affordable, so just make it as affordable as possible without all the nonsense. I'm going to use the brown shades in this. This has like 2 really beautiful brown shades. So you've got this really nice soft brown, and then you've got this beautiful velvety lighter brown with shimmer, but it's so velvety. Like, I just swatched it yesterday for the first time. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I would say this one is a little bit more pigmented than this one. So I'm just going to use a little Sephora crease brush. yeah, I just wanted to do some looks with these products because I did buy them, and mostly just to have them, which is not a good reason to buy makeup, but hey, I buy luxury items kind of just to look at sometimes, and to be quite honest, I'd rather pay, you know, $10 to just have something to look at than pay $80 to just have something to look at. So yeah, I bulk a lot more at luxury price points than I do at like collabs from drugstores. Um, I don't know. I guess if you add it up, maybe if you buy one luxury product, I don't know. I don't know that it, whatever. I'm just talking out loud. So this is a nice brown shade. It shears out pretty easily. It's not the most pigmented shade. It's also just very neutral. Almost cool tone, but just kind of just neutral brown. It's not really anything special. Just does nice in the crease. Just gonna take a little bit of the other brown shade with the shimmer in it and fill in the outer part of the eye. Next, I'm going to go into my Mint Melt colors here, and I want to use this one right here, which is this the chunky one? Yeah, it's kind of, well, they're both kind of chunky. This one, I want to use this beautiful one right here. This is the Mint to Be quad, so this is the full green quad. The other one had like 3 browns in it with one, and I was like, what's the point? So I'm just going to apply this with the finger to the center of the lid. Yesterday I did a look using the blue shade from the Chocolate Frosted with Sprinkles. So today I'm going to do some green. I did really like the way that the blue looked on my eyes. It's a very purple leaning blue, and it's not incredibly dense. It is very sparkly. It is very sheer, but you can see it. It shows up, and it's, you know, it's just a subtle, well, I don't know if subtle is the right word, but it's just a regular type of shimmer. Nothing too incredibly overwhelming for the eyes. So it was nice to just put that on and go out walking, do my chores and things without having blue. Not that I don't love blue, but some days you just don't. Some days you just want to wear blue and not have to think about what people think you look well. Some days you just want to wear blue and not worry about it, which some people can do a full blue look and not worry about it, but sometimes when you're just feeling kind of cranky and crappy and whatever, you just want something a little bit more subtle. They're drugstore shimmers, and that is fine. I'm going to take a bit of the Strawberry Frosted with Sprinkles, which I don't think I've ever actually swatched any of these. Oh, well, maybe I may have used this one yesterday. I might have. I don't know that I've swatched any of the mattes or anything. Huh. Anyway, I'm going to go in with this pink one right here. Well, it's kind of a peachy, peachier shade, and just kind of tap that over the green and see what happens. That looks like a pretty shift. I like that. So I kind of concentrated it over here. I think that looks nice. And I like cute and springy. I like that. What's so fun about having these things is you can just play. And then I'm going to go into the Rosewater quad, and I'm just going to use this one right here on the end on my pinky. Do some inner corner action. The one over here from the Boston Cream palette is also a really pretty inner corner highlight. It's a little bit more dense and not as glittery, but it has like a little bit of a yellow shift obviously to it, but it's very, very pretty for the inner corner. Then I'm gonna take the Lipliner matte shade in here and just do a little bit of clean up on the brow bone. And this is using an e.l.f. Shadow brush from the Mint Melt collection. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some liner, some black liner. This was one of my favorite drugstore finds from last year. I don't know if it came out last year, but that's when I found it. This is the Hyper Easy Brush Tip Liner from Maybelline, and it came out, I think, in one of the collections related to the Sky High, but it's really nice. I really like it. It's super easy to use. I do have to be a little bit careful because I have older eyelids and it's very liquidy, but like it's just super easy to use. And as per usual, this side looks very nice. This side just looks like, I don't know. So now I'm gonna go into something a little bit more dangerous because it's not something I've really done before, but I'm gonna mix some foundations and some primers to see if I can get the right shade for me. So I bought 2 of the Camo CC Creams. This was supposed to be e.l.f.'s like dupe for the It whatever. I have one that's way too light, one that's way too deep, and I've just been trying to make them work. I've actually used quite a bit of this. I don't know how I did that, but I'm not sure how long I've had these, but they seem to be okay. They're just very thick, and I know some people just really don't like this. So what I'm going to do is take the e.l.f. Jellypop Jelly Dupe Primer. They recently kind of reissued this as the e.l.f. Grip whatever. This was originally kind of the original dupe when the Jellypop collection came out for the milk one. I like this one better because the milk one will break me out a bit. So I am going to mix this with like a half a pump of this and a half a pump of this because this is so thick that I don't need a lot, and I'm used to a very light foundation or tint at this point. You know, I use the Chanel and the Rose ink and just kind of mix that with a pump of a regular liquidy foundation. So let's see here. It smells like watermelon. It's just literally not my favorite scent, but it works. And then a pump of half a pump of this. This is the, ew, no. This is the Fair 140W, and this is Light 210N. I'm just taking this is a Wet n Wild foundation brush and just mixing that to, ooh, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if these are gonna mix. One's just too pink and one's just too yellow, so I don't know how putting them together is gonna work. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, it's not bad. It's not as smooth as like my other ones. And you can definitely see the streaks. But I think adding the primer kind of helped thin out. And hopefully doing this doesn't break me out or mess up my face too much, because I am so used to using something lighter at this point. I've been using light tinted serums like since pretty much last summer. And in the past I have applied this with a sponge, not a brush. So it's soaking up a lot more of the product. And I'm not getting like a ton of coverage, which is actually kind of nice because this can go really heavy if you're not careful and sort of just sit on your face. But yeah, some coverage, nice so far. We'll see how it dries down. I don't know how this is going to look in natural light. I hope a little bit better than it does in this light. But yeah, not my favorites, but seems like I've been able to make them work without making them look super cakey. Just a note that I have a lot of jelly primer mixed in with this, and I also have that glowy primer underneath it, so there's a lot of primer going on with these. I don't have a drugstore concealer right now. If I did, I would be using the Flower Beauty, which I don't even remember how much that is. I think it's like 15, something in the range of $15, maybe $12. I would consider that drugstore because you can find Flower Beauty at CVS sometimes. I know that it's at my CVS, but today I'm going to use the Pure Lease Perfect Glow BB Concealer, which I've been using. It's just a sample. Not sure I love how this is sitting on my face, but it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be fine. It's okay. So I'm going to go in and powder with the KIKO Blossoming Beauty Blooming Perfecting Powder. And KIKO is a drugstore brand. You can get it at Ulta and on its own site. It's a drugstore in Europe, as far as I'm aware. It's not that cheap. Like I said, drugstore is not always super cheap. I would say it is kind of comparable to maybe Physicians Formula, if not a little bit more expensive. And they do come out with a ton of special collections, but the thing is they always come out with like the same products in different packaging, so you can get a version of this powder in almost any of their collections. I'm going to go in with some bronzer, and I'm going to skip my normal bronzer today. I'm going to use this little guy. This is the baby bronzer. This is the regular, or no, this is actually the deep bronzer. I got this in a set a few years ago. Came in this little, it was one of those little butter special collection sets that came with a bunch of little samples or little baby versions like this. Apply lightly for me. And again, depending on where you, depending on what collection you get your Physicians Formula with, sometimes the deep bronzer is deep and sometimes it's kind of just not. So it's not always super consistent what they call their deep bronzer when they have collabs or special collections. They're just kind of all over the place sometimes. Gonna go in with two special collab products that I haven't really used that much, and I really only swatched for the first time a couple of days ago, but I bought part of the Wet n Wild Care Bear collab, which happened last year, I think very early last year. I picked up the bronzer, the blush, and the highlight. Never used them. I just swatched these two for the first time the other day, and so I wanted to use these. This is the Do What You Love blush. It's got Tender Heart, not Tender Heart, Tender Heart's the brown one. Who is this? Love Bear? I don't know, it's the pink bear with the two hearts. I can't remember. I would have known this by heart if I was 6 years old, but my memory is not what it used to be. And then you have the Let Your Light Shine highlighter. This has Sunshine Bear on it, and it is a little sun in the middle, and it is super glittery. This looks really pretty on the eyes, actually, but it's very glittery. So we're just gonna maybe put a bit of that on the eyes. I don't know how much of it we're gonna use on the cheeks because I'm not really a highlighter person right now. Just gonna use this Sonia Kashuk blush brush with the, this is very pink. It's very pink. Just gonna go in super light with it. Yeah. See if I can kind of get it to mimic my Water Fresh blush from Chanel. And I'm not necessarily comparing them in a formula or anything, just in how much I enjoy wearing them and how much they kind of can dupe each other. I'm not, I'm not super picky about, I love blushes and bronzers and like in all kinds of formulas and all price points. But there's just ones that work nicely for me, and if I can get a drugstore to mimic a little more luxury product, that is a win for me. because then I don't have to repurchase a $50 blush as fast as I would, because I can use this to mimic it. I don't know if you can still get the Care Bears collection, but I'm sure there is an equivalent like $3 Wet n Wild blush that you can get that looks like this pink. It's not that special. I like the color that it adds though. Okay, so the Let Your Light Shine, we're just gonna do like a little bit of swatch of this, just so you, like you can see, like this is, it's very pretty, but it's just glitter. Is glitter. Just gonna kind of pat that on the center of the lid. We got green and pink and yellow. I think that adds some brightness. You could also use it as inner corner. Yeah, I think I'll do that too, because I think the other one's kind of fading a little bit. But I don't necessarily want to put it on my cheeks because I'm like, that's what's left, and I'm like, don't really need glitter. Don't really need glitter on my cheeks today. Going in with the Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High, my favorite drugstore mascara. Not that unhappy with the foundation right now. I think it's okay. Again, I'm feeling a little bit today, so I don't really love the way I look anyway, but it's okay. And I have lights shining on me, box lights, so that does make a difference. But let's see, I'm gonna go wash my hands and finish this look up. Okay, let's finish off with lips, and I'm gonna try something again new today, which I don't know if this is gonna work, but using the KIKO Milano. This is from the Charming Escape collection from a couple of years ago. This is in 03. It's more of like a rosy shade. And then this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Shine, or Hydrating Core Lip Shine in Giddy. It's the one with the little heart in the middle. So this is the more orangey one. I do like these. I don't love the smell of them, but I do like them. So I'm gonna line myself with something a little bit darker and then fill in with something a little bit poppier. It's a nice thing about just having fun colors in drugstore makeup is you can just play a little bit and not stress about it if you don't love it. So I've got sort of this rosy base going on. Yes, it does need to be cleaned up quite a bit. These are very soft, so they don't tend to keep a tip on them. I don't even, is there a, yeah, there's a thing on the end. I never use it. Kind of almost mimics the Clé de Peau Cosmic Rose, where it's got something a little bit salmony but also deep to it. I think this is a little bit deeper than what that would be. Certainly not a dupe, but I like the way it looks. I'm gonna go clean up the sides of my mouth and my hand. I had to get some of the ick off of this because it hasn't been used in quite a while. Okay, so playtime's over and this is the finished look. I actually did cheat a little bit and went in with a finishing powder and a setting spray just to see if that made the foundation look a little bit better. Again, I don't love that foundation. It's a little bit thick for what I am currently, what stage I am currently in my makeup usage. And if I have another product that will make that product work for me, I should just use it and see if it works. So I don't know, I think it helped a little bit, or you know, I've still got the setting spray still sort of setting down yet, so we'll see how it plays over the day. Still not my favorite thing, hope because it's so thick that it does not break me out. But so yeah, this was a lot of fun. I love playing with products in my collection that I just never get a chance to use because I get into a routine and I know what I want to look like during the day, and so it's just fun to play with different things, experiment with color, and see how things work. And it's always super fun to play with cute little things that I buy for the packaging and just stare at, and then they just don't get used in my collection. But yeah, so yeah, using e.l.f. Bite Size, using a Wet n Wild Care Bears, using e.l.f. Jellypop, which again, you can pretty much get this in the e.l.f. Powered Grip, whatever it is, primer. It just doesn't smell like watermelon, which is fine. I don't love watermelon. And then the CC Camo Cream, again, not my favorite, but as sheared out with the Jelly Primer, not bad, not bad. And then just some KIKO, Maybelline, and e.l.f. staples that I always have on hand. Love them. Again, this is an interesting combination. It's rosy salmony, which I'm not sure I love, but it's there. It goes with the kind of spring thing I've got going on my eyes. And most of the other products are tried and true. I use them all the time, so I really don't need to worry about them. All right, let me know what you think of this look, or not. Let me know if you have any drugstore faves, if you have any favorite brands, favorite products. Love to hear about that from you. Also, if you're just eschewing drugstore in favor of luxury, look, been there. I just recently made a purchase from Chanel. I love me a luxury purchase. Can't do it all the time, but I do love me a luxury purchase. Trying to dip my toes a little bit more into the luxury side of things. But it's expensive, and I do get excited about a new e.l.f. release, so I am kind of excited about the new Good Vibes release. I do want to pick up one of the bite-sized quads and the I think the brush set, maybe, and maybe one other thing, but I don't know. I know they're coming out with a new velvety primer. I don't think I need that in my life, but anyway, let me know what you got your eye on. And I hope you're having a good day. I'm having an okay week. I just needed to do something to pick me up because I'm just not feeling really great right now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Any of those would be welcome, and all of them would be appreciated. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.